Hi everyone, and welcome to this parent information session. I'm Jamie Bramburger. I'm the Manager of Community and Student Affairs at Algonquin College's Pembroke Campus. I've held the position for more than 20 years. And I wanted to start out this presentation by saying to you, I too am a parent. Here's a picture of my family. This was taken a few years ago. This was at Christmas, where we were celebrating, and you can see my daughter and my son and my wife, and the family pet is there as well. My son, just for a little bit of background, is a university graduate. He's doing postdoctoral studies now. He's a mathematician, so he's been in university for a very long time. My daughter is a college graduate, and she is very gainfully employed and doing very well. She came to the local campus here in Pembroke, and my son moved out of town. So I've had some experience with both a son who has traveled and been out of town to do his academic studies, and a daughter who has been local and went the college route. So I think the big point I want to make is I'm a parent too, and I certainly have lots of experience working with parents, and I'm hoping that this presentation will be really helpful as we go through the slides. So the first thing you should know is, what is this community of Pembroke like? It's a small city, one of Ontario's smallest cities. About 14,000 people live here, but it serves a regional area, and so we have a large military base just a few minutes up the highway, about a 15-minute drive from here, Garrison Petawawa, and there's a township that kind of surrounds the city of Pembroke called Laurentian Valley. So there's about 45,000 people that live within about a 15-minute drive from here. We're also right on the Quebec border, separated by the Ottawa River. And so we have some Quebec residents who also study with us. There is no public transit in our community, so that's a significant consideration for our out-of-town students, as they want to make sure that they find housing that is either within walking distance, or if they have a bike, or if they have their own vehicle. And certainly carpooling is something that many of our students do to get to and from school. As far as getting back home for special occasions like reading weeks or Thanksgiving or Christmas holidays, Easter, there are, two bus companies that serve our region, Ontario Northland and Greyhound. And the bus station is very, very close to the campus, a little short walk away at a downtown business. A large department store, Giant Tiger, is where students can purchase their tickets, or they can purchase them online, but that is where they would catch the bus, and that is when they would arrive when they come back to Pembroke. A lot of recreational facilities are within walking distance of the campus, and were built on the picturesque shores of one of Canada's national heritage rivers, the Ottawa River, and it really is a wonderful place for our students to study. It's very, very therapeutic, looking out at the river, perhaps reading a book on a beautiful fall day. So I think your student will really enjoy it here. Some fast facts about the Pembroke campus. Well, we've been here as long as the Ontario College system has been here. So in 1967, when former Premier Bill Davis, who was then the Education Minister, established the college system, the Ontario College system included Algonquin College, the main campus in Ottawa, but we here in Pembroke were one of the first regional campuses to be attached to Algonquin. And so since 1967, we've been serving the province and serving our local area. In the fall of 2019, we had approximately 1,000 full-time students here. So that gives you some perspective on how big the campus is. We offer 20 full-time programs. We offer certificates, diplomas, and degrees. The biggest programs we have as far as student population is concerned, the Bachelor of Science in Nursing, which is offered in collaboration with the University of Ottawa, four-year baccalaureate program, so we have a lot of students in that program. Also the Outdoor Adventure program, a two-year diploma. It is very popular and attracts students from across the country, and it has a larger population as well. This is important, particularly for out-of-town parents. 50%, so half of our students, come from outside of Renfrew County. So we're going to talk about student housing shortly, but it is important for you to know that we have lots of experience serving an out-of-town student population. And about 3 out of 10 of our students have identified that they have a direct military connection in their family. Again, not surprising given our close proximity to Garrison Petawawa, one of Canada's largest armed forces bases, but it is an interesting point that is unique to our campus. Most of our programs, small class sizes, anywhere from 20 to 45 students. There are some that are larger, but for the most part, that's the mix. So I think if you've studied at a larger institution, you can appreciate how much contact there will be with the faculty, and really a great learning experience and opportunity for students. We think this is the right campus for your son or daughter to study at, and we hope that we have the program that you're interested in. So we do have a few recommendations that we think will help. So first of all, have the family discussion about what type of careers your child is interested in, and start the research process early. If you haven't already applied to our campus, but there is some interest in some of the programming that we offer, then come and visit us. Campus tours are critical. They really do help you get a sense of belonging at a campus, not only for the student, but also for the family, and that's really, really important. The first step is to review the college website. So have a close look at the admission requirements, the program of study, or the courses that are going to be offered in the program. Look at our graduate employment reports. Look at student testimonials. Watch some videos that really demonstrate the student learning experience. We do a lot of lab work in colleges, so applied learning is really important to us. So it's important for a student to see what it would be like to be a student for a day, and ultimately a student in the program. Speak to program coordinators, speak to the faculty, talk to current students, student services staff. The best way to do that is to attend an open house or come for a campus tour, so you can really make those great connections early in the process as you're deciding if this is the right campus and right program for you. For parents, we also offer a number of services. We have a great website where you can access a whole bunch of excellent information. We also have a newsletter. It's free. All you have to do is sign up and we'll email it to you so you can keep in touch with what's happening. And again, if you apply, review information that is sent to the college very carefully. This information has a lot of information. We always encourage parents to be part of that process because you can help to make sure that deadlines are met, to make sure that documentation that needs to be provided is provided in a timely fashion so that our admissions officers can complete the process in assessing the application. So when applying to college, a student can make up to 5 choices in the Ontario college system, and 3 of those choices can be at a single college. So for example, if a student was only interested in being a personal support worker, they could apply to the Pembroke, the Ottawa, and the Perth campus. That would be their 3 choices at one individual college. And then they could add 2 more choices to another college that they might be considering as well. Applications are submitted online through the Ontario College Application Service. So that's a website that is managed by an independent company that supports all of Ontario's public colleges. The application fee is $95. We do always recommend that applications be submitted early. There's a date of February 1st that is considered the equal opportunity deadline. It's important because if a student applies to a program that is very popular, they need to get their application in before February 1st because they run the risk of being put on a wait list and ultimately not getting into their first choice program. If you've applied after February 1st, that's okay too, because many programs still do have openings through for a number of weeks leading up into the start of classes. But again, February 1st is important if you're applying to a really popular program. And the other reason February 1st is important is that colleges actually start making offers of admission as of February 1st. So not only is it a critical deadline in the application process, it's also the first time that the college comes out and says, hey, congratulations, you've been accepted into a program. Now, your son or daughter may receive more than one offer of admission from one college or from multiple colleges. And that's why that visiting the campus and doing the research and really getting to know what that college is going to be like and what it has to offer is important because it helps with the final decision making. Here's an example from our Parents Families website. So you can see in this case we were promoting an open house, but what I want to point out to you is there's a Future Students tab on our website, on our homepage on the Pembroke campus, algonquincollege.com/Pembroke, and you just tap on that Future Students page and it will take you to this page. And right on the bottom left corner where we've got the nice little yellow arrow, it says Parents or Guardians. That's a website that you want to bookmark because that's where we put up all kinds of new information for parents and families specifically. It will have things like an FAQ for parents so you can better understand some of the jargon, for example, that we may use here at the college that you're not familiar with. There's a definition, a glossary of that. There is information on an academic calendar. So really, if you're trying to to plan a vacation or what have you, you can actually see when reading weeks are going to be held. Lots of really great information there. There's some testimonials from parents who have had children who have studied at our campus before, so you can hear directly from them. And again, this really is a resource for you. It's got good information on student services as well, so that you can be aware of what type of help would be available for your son and daughter should they need it. So let's just go through some quick tips. Here's the first one. If you have a son or daughter who's coming to us from high school, you've had different rules that you've applied through all of their education. It's really been an open book. You've had access to information about how they're doing in their academic studies at the elementary and secondary school system. That is going to change when they come to post-secondary education. We have privacy laws and legislation and directives, both from government as well as within our institution, that we have to apply. And they say that we can't share information with you as a parent unless we have written approval from the student. And that means every term we need to have that written approval, and it has to be specific on what we can share with you. So for example, it might be something about financial aid, it could be something about their academic progression in the program. But the bottom line is your son or daughter must sign a release form through the registrar's office that gives us permission to speak to you. The second thing is documentation really matters. Students will be sent information by the college, and depending on what program they're in, for example, if they're in a healthcare program, they're going to have to provide health immunization records to the college, a clear criminal records check through a local police department. All of these documents are fundamental because they're going to be working with vulnerable populations. So they could be at a hospital or a long-term care facility if they were in a nursing program, or an early childhood education student will be in the school system. So these documents, there will be a deadline for them to be submitted, and this is something parents can help us with to make sure their son or daughter starts the process of getting these documents into the college, because it does sometimes take some time. If they go to a local police department, it can take several weeks before their clear criminal records check is returned. Transcripts is another one. While they're in high school, the guidance counselors will work with them to make sure that transcripts are submitted. But if they're out of high school, say they've been removed a year, 2, maybe 3 years, they may have to get copies of transcripts, or if they have to go back to an adult high school or an academic upgrading program at a college, they may have to show us proof that they are registered in that biology course that they need, that is a prerequisite to get into the program that they have applied to. So again, very, very important, because we can't make conditional offers of admission unless we show proof that they are working towards getting the credit that is required as part of our admission requirements. I've also got a note in there about passports. Some of our programs do travel into other countries, such as the Outdoor Adventure Program when they do expeditions. So it is important that they have a current passport available to them. Number 3 tip is about student loans. So OSAP, or the Ontario Student Assistance Program, for any Ontario resident, which is the majority of our students. Again, applications are available online. So a student can apply, and there is a calculator as well that will give them some indication of whether or not they will be eligible for a student loan. And within the family unit, if the student is still living at home, then there is a requirement for parents to put in their income as well, and that is part of the decision making on whether or not they are eligible for OSAP. If they are, student financial aid is dispersed in 2 segments, or 2 parts, if you will. 60% of the funding in a student loan is dispersed at the start of the school year, and the remaining 40% is dispersed midway through the program, normally in January. So that's important from a budgeting perspective, and we always recommend that parents have those conversations with students, particularly younger students who may be really managing money for the first time, and they have to understand the importance of making sure the rent is paid if they're from out of town, the books are purchased, any of those necessary college expenses. We want them to have some fun too, but we want to make sure that they budget properly. Number 4 is around technology and learning, and that's certainly a big part of any post-secondary institution. There's obviously high-speed wireless connectivity here on the campus, secure connections so that they can have access to the college server from their home or residence. That's important because we use a a system called Brightspace, which is really a learning management system where faculty will post assignments and students will submit assignments online. There could be PowerPoint presentations, lecture notes, what have you, whatever the faculty member wants to put in there, as well as course learning outcomes. And so it is important that students have access from home to be able to submit things when their assignments are due. Almost all of our students have a laptop computer, so that is a recommendation that I make to you, that all students should have access to a laptop because they need it for their studies, and we are such a technology-driven world now. That is a big part of the learning platform. And as I've noted here, about 90% of our students, when surveyed a few years ago, did in fact own a laptop. Some of our programs do have e-textbooks. And we have something we call Bring Your Own Device, BYOD. That's one of those things that would be described on the parent website under our glossary, so you know what that is. But often teachers will require some kind of electronic device that is used in the classroom as part of the learning experience. Tip number 5, all of our students will have a dental and health plan. So this is important because it makes sure that they're protected if they need prescription drugs or some sort of dental procedure, such as a filling if they had a toothache, or regular cleanings, which is important for oral hygiene. So all students will have access. You pay that up front. It's approximately $170 per student. If, however, the student does have coverage through parents, then they can opt out and they will receive the money back into their bank account, that fee that is charged up front. So there is a deadline for that. It happens in the first month, and this is a program that is offered through our Students Association here at Algonquin College. So it will be important, if you do have coverage already in place for your son or daughter, to make sure that they opt out before that deadline. Again, that's always in the first month of their studies. Number 6 is about student health. We do have a full-time nurse here, which is terrific. She is accessible for the students Monday to Friday. In health services, which is right in the heart of student services on the first floor of the campus. We also have a family doctor who comes on campus once a week and takes appointments through our health nurse. So that's great because the doctor can either prescribe or can make a referral to another healthcare practitioner if it is necessary. We also have a partnership with the Royal Ottawa Hospital where we do have access to psychiatric services, and almost all of our staff on campus have been trained in mental health first aid, 100% of our student services staff. So that's really a commitment that we have made to supporting the mental well-being of our students and our colleagues as well. And we also have a number of other mental health initiatives. Our counselor has some great programming. We also have a pet therapy program, so it's not unusual to see pets on campus, and the students always really enjoy that. And a Purple Couch initiative, which is, again, really a promotional tool that we use, that we move around the campus to kind of start conversations about mental health to make sure that we're looking out for our students. If your student is going to have a vehicle while they're studying with us, we do charge parking fees. I would suggest to you, though, that these rates are quite reasonable compared to larger institutions. $327 a year is what the parking fee is for our students. We also do have some lockers on campus. We have many lockers, but they are on a first-come, first-served basis, and the locker rental rates based on last year was $20.35 per student. Parking passes and lockers, again, sold on a first-come, first-served basis, so it is important that you take care of that early. Our college parking lot does sell out, but right beside us is a large municipal parking lot. It might be another 2-minute walk further, not very much, and the rates are essentially the same that the City of Pembroke charges. Housing for students. This is a big one for our out-of-town student population. As I said, 50% of our students are from out of town. The college does not own or operate any student residences. However, there are 5 privately owned and operated student residences providing more than 200 student beds. So the college does assist in making this information available to students and families on our website. We also have these residences come to our open house activities, and they have their own open houses where you can go and check out the residences. You can do that at any time as well, just by contacting them, and you will find information about that on our website. We do stress that any decision that is made by a student and their family to enter into a landlord-tenant agreement is solely between you and the business, because they are privately owned and operated. The college does not get involved in that. We provide the information as a service. And again, we do really recommend that you do your due diligence, that you plan a visit to both the campus as well as the residences so that you can make an informed decision. Ask lots of questions. So we like questions, and it's important that you ask questions of the residences as well. Tip number 9 is about employment support. We do have student employment opportunities here on campus. Certainly, though, we would have more in the community. We post job postings both online and on a job posting board outside student services. We also hold career fairs and job fairs. We support resume and cover letter development. These are all free services for students. We also have a co-op officer, so we have a number of programs that have built co-op experiences in them. That's a great opportunity for students because they can get real work life experience within their program. It's a 4-month paid co-op experience. Students do pay a fee because there are a number of modules they have to complete, and they receive administrative support from our co-op officer. But in the final analysis, it really pays off because on their resume, they have relevant work experience in the field they are interested in before they graduate. So we highly do recommend students that are in co-op programs take advantage of co-op. They do, of course, have to have a high academic standing. They have to perform well academically to ensure that they do qualify for co-op. Safety is always important. We have campus security here on campus, so a security guard is present at all times when the campus is open. There are security phones throughout the building and on the exterior of the building to allow for emergency calls. We also have video cameras throughout the campus, both inside and outside. And we have a security services investigative team. If there is something serious, a matter that does require some sort of investigation, then we can also tap into our security investigators to look into matters more seriously. I call them smart cards. This is really tip number 11 is about our student ID cards. So students can use these, and parents can use them as well, to actually load money onto them. And you can do that remotely from home. So if your son or daughter needs a little extra cash to use it in the cafeteria, in the bookstore, maybe for printing credits because they're running low on the allotment that is provided by the college, this is a great way for you to support them. And again, you can do this remotely. Tip number 12, really important that you get to know student services. So we've got lots of different services. Counseling, health services, I mentioned the nurse and doctor. Center for Accessible Learning, so this is our disability counselor and our adaptive technologist, all of the people that can support students that may have either a learning or a physical disability that requires some additional help. Financial aid, from loans to bursaries to scholarships. We hand out more than $250,000 in free bursary money every year to students. So that's a significant amount when you think we only have about 1,000 full-time students. So it really comes down to making sure that they build their portfolio for financial aid, which we help them do during our orientation, and making sure that they are aware of the many bursaries that are available to them. Co-op and campus employment services, we've talked about that, so opportunities to find part-time jobs in the community while they are studying, or it may be more importantly about when they're reaching the finish line and getting that additional support to look at job opportunities, that first job that's so important once they're reaching graduation. We also have a tutoring program where we hire students who can support other students. Let's say it's a student that's struggling in accounting, but we've got another student that really does well in accounting. We can match them up. We subsidize it so it's not too expensive for the student to access tutoring. We have a coaching strategist. We have a learner support program in our library where students can just drop in and get some additional support from a faculty member if they're having some trouble kind of learning some concepts in something they've been taught in the classroom. So lots of different services that are available for students, and that was just an example of some of the things that they can tap into. Staying in tune with the college, tip number 13. This is not an unlucky tip. This is a really, really lucky and important tip. As a parent, it's really important that you kind of know what's happening on campus because you can support us from a student success perspective. The best way to do that is follow our social media sites, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, We're always posting information. I think you'll find that we're very active in our storytelling, and you might even just see your student participating in some sort of learning activity or social experience here on campus. Again, sign up for the parent newsletter. We think you'll find it really, really beneficial. It will keep you in tune with what's happening. Bookmark the parent and family website. Again, some really good information there, including the academic calendar, which you can also print off and maybe throw a copy of that onto your fridge. So you know when the term is ending, when fees are due for the next term, the tuition payments, those sort of things. Review what student services are available to support student success. So we have a number of student services. They're all listed on our website. There are documents that you can print off. Again, you can put them on your fridge or on your desk in your office, whatever is the right spot for you. So you're aware. So if you get that call or that text someday and your student just doesn't seem to be having a good day, and you probe a little bit more and you find out they're struggling in a particular course, you'll have the information you need to say, well, why don't you go see Jeff? And maybe he can help you in student services. So very, very personal approach, which can really go a long way when a parent does intervene. And again, knowing the deadlines. When the tuition payments are due, the documentation due lines, you can really help us with that. Tip 14, if your student is struggling. So asking the right questions, really important. Things like, have you talked to your academic advisor? They might be surprised that you even know they have an academic advisor. But when you ask the question, it prompts them to maybe make that appointment that is overdue. And again, sitting down with a faculty member or an academic advisor can really, really help get them right back on track. Have they talked about tutoring or counseling support? Same thing. That's accessing student services, and there's lots of free services there and some really helpful and great people that want your child to be successful. Have they inquired about bursaries or financial aid? We talked about the amount of bursary funding that is available for all of our programs and all of our students. And really, sometimes it just is a matter of them being aware of it and making some inquiries. Have they participated in orientation activities? This is one you can help us with. We have a number of orientation activities at the start of the school year. Again, having them be active, meeting new people, meeting some of our staff, connecting through whether it be a social experience like a game night or something like that, really important. There's also an academic orientation piece. So faculty are going to kind of set some expectations, and they might do it over a luncheon, but there's some important messaging there that students really need to receive. Are they taking part in clubs or intramural sporting events? If they really like to play hockey or they're a soccer player, volleyball. Have they signed up so that they can just have some fun in the gymnasium after classes are over? Participate in a little house league, if you will. We also have a logger sports team, which is a varsity team that competes against other colleges and universities. That's primarily attached to our forestry technician program, but we have students from other programs that participate as well. And are they meeting new people? I think that's a key, particularly even if it's a local student versus an out-of-town student, it still is a whole new experience going to college. And we want to bring people together and help them make connections early. The final tip, number 15, be partners in student success. And I mean that sincerely. My experience with parents is they just want to help. And so it's really important that we let you help. And yes, we have some restrictions on the kind of information that we can share with you without a student's permission. But if you know about college student services, if you're aware of key deadlines and dates, if you can offer some support, still staying within the boundaries of making sure that they're a young adult and they are trying to progress in life and it's a learning experience, we're teaching them responsibility as well. But every once in a while it doesn't hurt to give them a little nudge and say, hey, did you get that done? Or did you do this? Or what about that deadline? That's just being a helpful parent. We think that's really, really important because it does help with student success. And keep in touch. I often say to parents, if you've got a parent or a student that's studying with us, they're out of town, really, really good for you to come and visit, but just let them know you're coming to visit. Don't surprise them. Come with a good plan, take them out for dinner. Every student loves that, I'm sure. It's really, really great to be connected again with your parents, but again, let them know you're coming, plan a good visit, and be ready when they come home too, because it's going to be a different experience. They've had a little bit of independence and they've been on their own now for a while, and there's going to be some things like if you know what bright space is, for example, you can have a conversation about that and say, hey, how is that bright space working out? as far as a learning management system and a template. And I think they'll be impressed by the fact that you're aware of some of the things that they're experiencing while they're at college. So here are just a few things to wrap up. Some key admissions dates. May 1st is always the confirmation deadline for applicants to accept their offer of admission. June 15th is when a non-refundable $500 tuition deposit is due. So that's an important deadline. August 3rd is for fall 2020, the deadline to submit academic documentation to the registrar's office. It's always right at the start of August, so you can just keep that in mind. That's always when you want to get your academic documentation in. September 3rd and 4th is our program orientation sessions for fall 2020. Again, it's always a Thursday and Friday before classes start. The residence move-in day is Thursday, September 3rd, so that's when a lot of our out-of-town students are here and they're moving into the private residences. We always have a great barbecue for them on campus that night, so we encourage you to join us for that if you're in town as well. And then September 8th for fall 2020 will be day one of the program. That will be the first day of school. So that wraps up this presentation. I hope it was helpful. There's my email contact, Brambuj, B-R-A-M-B-U-J, at algonquincollege.com. My phone number is 613-735-4700 and extension 2756. Really hope that you will come and see us and get to know us a little bit better, and we hope that your son or daughter will study with us, and I think they'll find it was a great decision if they do. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.